The devil's game. What is the devil's game? And what does the devil want from you? You know, what's he gonna gain? What's his end goal? Right? So the devil doesn't usually just come at you at once. He doesn't come charging at you. That's not how his game work. Okay, we're gonna call it a game. That's not how the game works. He doesn't come to you with something obvious and just says, "Yo, let's go. Let's ruin your life today. Let's just, let's just ruin it. Let's go. Fuck it." He doesn't do that. What he likes to do, he has this perfect plan that he made because he knows us. He knows us better than us. He was here before us. He knows how human nature is. He knows different humans. He knows the intentions of different human beings. So he starts smaller. A thought, a feeling, a temptation, what is it? An excuse, these small holes nobody will know. You can change this later. And the scary part is you don't realize it, you're just like, you know because most people, evil comes dressed as like pleasure. Pretty much it's a pleasure, something I want to do. And you just don't know. So it's either money, it's either attention, it's either comes to you in a person, as you should not be talking to. It could be, I don't know, your cousin, something like, this person is with someone, but you know you guys, you know what I'm saying, right? Let's not turn around, let's not even get into details, but you should not be talking to this person, and you go talk to him. Sometimes it comes as a habit. You keep hiding from everyone, um like it's something that you hide, but you do it. Sometimes it comes as an anger. It could be, you being mad because of something else, and made you like so mad. It could be pride, just like there's a sin called pride, right? Laziness. That's the devil's work. Laziness is devil's work. Lust. Yes. Lust is like, this is probably ranked number one. Dude, that's the challenger, that's the immortal rank, radiant, you know that's the max thing right there. It can be ego as well. If you're so egoist, you know and you think people are better than you, use what you already won against you. He knows the cracks, where the cracks are. He knows the intentions. He knows what's your goals, what's something that you want to do, but obviously goes against your morals or whatever. And then he uses that against you, and he shows you an opening. And obviously, if he shows you an opening and you're already, weak, that gives him obviously a chance to, invent a new weakness, right? And then he just watches the door. Like he opens it for you, and he just watches the door. You know, how do they say it? If you love attention, he puts you through validation. He just puts you there. If you love woman, if you love, who doesn't, right? If you love woman, right? Desire, lusts, you know what I'm saying? He pushes you through that. He puts like people in your way. If you have anger inside you, he tests that anger. How to say this? He makes like if someone obviously did something to you, like a sentence or something, well, just like a joke or something, you get mad so easily, right? And then you just explode, and you didn't have to do all of that. Because a weak person is a person who can't control his anger, right? We all know that. This is a quote from Vinland Saga, right? Whoever didn't watch that, you should. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you have pride, right? You know, sin pride. He makes every advice that you have, every advice that you get from people, sound disrespectful. But people are just trying to help you. They're trying to give you an advice, and you're like, yeah, I do accept them. But when they come to you, you don't. That's a lie, right? And then if you are like lonely, right? If you're lonely, he makes like, uh, he makes the wrong person look like peace. So you're lonely already and you're so desperate. When he sends someone to your way, you're gonna be so desperate and you're gonna be like with the wrong person, but you know it, but you can't leave him because you're lonely, you know? And then you just feel at peace, but it's not peace, you know, you're just lying to yourself. And when you're sad, he makes you so comfortable being sad, being depressed, being whatever. He just tells you, yes, be that always, just never change, be like this, be a loser, you know? Like, how can I send it? Like, he makes destruction a little comfortable, you know? Destroying yourself is okay, you know? You're there, you're good, you're chilling, you know? Nothing's happening to you. And the worst part, he doesn't force you. It's not forced. You can't feel it. You don't know it until it happens, right? What he does, he whispers to you. He suggests it. You know, he throws ideas in your head that you'd never thought you'd ever have. You know, and then he just makes it think like it was yours. You know, it's your ideas. This is your ideas. You know, and then like what he does is so it's like a game. You know, there's a you notice. How can I say it? Because you don't always notice a pattern. A pattern. Sorry. Because obviously in some games, it's not the same. You know, the boss doesn't do the same tricks every time. The combos change. There's different combos, different weapons, different abilities, different skills, different characters, right? At first, it's your conscience, you know, speaks loudly, you know, you do something wrong, you know, and it's, you know, you do something wrong and you feel it, and then you're like, why did I do this? You know, you feel uncomfortable, you feel guilty, you're like, man, you know, I should have done that. No, I should have not done that. That was a bad thing, you know? And that's good. That's good. You have a conscience, right? But then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and again, and again, and again. Because what he does, he makes the good, let's say there's a bad voice and a good voice, the devil's voice and your voice or your consciousness, whatever. He makes it so quiet. The voice gets quieter every time. He makes it quieter, quieter. Not because the thing became less wrong, but because your heart was used to it. It got used to it, you know? Let's say your heart is white, right? I'm just giving you an example. Your heart is white. And then you kept listening to him. He keeps tainting your heart black every time. And every time there's a point, black, black, black. Like he paints it every time, and so it all becomes black, and it's okay. You're doing bad stuff, and you know it's a bad thing, but you're still doing it. So suddenly, nobody wakes up, you know, one day, and suddenly they're just, you know, the worst version of themselves. How did they get here? These are the patterns. These are the tricks that the devil used, right? It happens step by step, just like you obviously advancing in a journey or a game. It doesn't just happen like this. You don't get to the final boss like that. You know, you gotta get abilities, you gotta get skills. I don't know, if you're in the gym, you gotta gain, you gotta eat, you gotta do stuff to get to that physique, right? Or obviously that job or whatever. Just like the uni, you have to, you know, first year, second year, third year until you get to masters. So one small compromise, one small bad habit, one lie, one night, one excuse, he keeps giving you, okay, you're gonna stop tomorrow, bro. It's alright. Do it today, I'll stop tomorrow. The next week, the next month, next year. I don't know, next year's. And then you become a person that you don't even realize. And you're like, dude, what's happened to me? What happened to me? How did I switch to this? You know? How did I become this person? You know, I used to hate this. I used to hate people who do this. How? What happened? I used to feel ashamed. I used to feel that there's limits to stuff that I don't have to do. I can't do it. It's immoral. It's something that's bad. It's something that society, not just society, decided not to do it, but it's just morally wrong, you know? And then that's the devil's game. That's when you realize you're in it. You know, you got caught up. You're in it, you know? He doesn't let you fall completely just in a day, you know? He just needs you to move a step further from your goal, or just get away from who you were yesterday, pretty much. And then one step away from discipline, one step away from your goal, one step away from the person you wanted to become, from your purpose, one step away from your prayer, if you pray. Um, one step away from the, what is it, from the best version, or the version that you always wanted to become. And the devil is probably the most patient person ever. Not person, but he's the most patient creature ever. He's so patient, you don't even know. They lives for years. They know us. That's what people don't understand. He doesn't mind waiting. He doesn't have anything to lose. He just lays the game. He's playing chess, checkers. Dude comes in, puts the thing. He's chilling. He watches you move, and he just moves it as he wants. And then you're just following him. You're falling to his trap, right? He doesn't mind waiting. He doesn't have to win immediately. He has time, but you don't. You know that you don't have enough time. If he cannot make you do the worst thing today, he will normalize something smaller, something that's a little bit bad, just a little bit bad. And then, if he cannot make you abandon everything, he will like delay what matters. Let's say, I'll give you an example. I'll start tomorrow. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll start cooking tomorrow. I'll apologize tomorrow. I'll do this essay tomorrow. I'll do this work tomorrow. I'll start going to job interviews. I'll start, whatever. I'll become serious. I'll change as a better person. I'll repent. I'll pray later. It's always this word. Always. He just whispers it to your ear. Later. Not now. And then later sounds harmless. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. He just gets in your head. He's like, it's okay. You can do it later. You don't have to do it now. I'll do it later. But for some people, later is never. It just becomes never. Later, never. And one of the biggest tricks the devil uses is making you still think you have time. You have time to fix it. You have time to quit smoking. You have time to stop clubbing a lot. You have time to stop wasting your time with girls. You have time to play around. You still have time, man. You don't have to do it today. Still a lot of time. There's still time to go back to the person you were. But we know nobody's promised time. Let's not lie to each other. Nobody's promised. We don't know. But even when you have time, the longer you stay in a bad path, the harder it becomes to leave it. Just like a train. If you want to go to your destination, and you obviously miss your destination, but you still stay in the train. I'm just giving you an example. Obviously, the destination is going to get far because you left it behind. You walked past it. Or you just took the wrong train. Let's say you took the wrong train, and it's a wrong train, but you kept going, you never stopped, you never got off, you never took the train that takes you back to the place where you were. It becomes a habit, it becomes a habit. It becomes an identity, it becomes this prison, this sort of prison where you're free, and then you start defending the same thing that destroyed you. You start saying, yeah, it's okay. Then the trap becomes deeper and deeper and deeper, and he throws you in different layers of protection from you. He throws you in this prison where there's different kind of protections, but they're not protections. He laid different traps that look like free will, looks like, a deep hole, pretty much. So what's wrong no longer feels like it's wrong. Whatever was a shame, something you were ashamed to do, disappeared. When you start laughing at things that once scared you, you were scared to do this, you were scared to hear this, and now you're just laughing at it. It's okay. Well, when discipline becomes something, dude, that's just so boring. When you start laughing at things that once scared you, when you're calling discipline boring, when he shows you this purity, like the purity that you have, or the purity of whatever, I can't even talk, the purity of being a good person, being pure, pretty much. is a bad thing. It's why you being pure, you know? Corruption is freedom, this is something we have to do. This is something that you gotta indulge in. This is something you gotta like. You gotta this is business, we gotta do this. Um, you know, and then he just comes down this like this the path of distraction, right? The path of distraction is like, this is living life. This is your freedom. This is something that you have to do. And the devil is like, oh, I love this. This is, oh my God, this is something I love. I love this. I love it. You know, he's just chilling. He's loving the moment. Because you like, once you rename the poison, something that used to poison you, now you just drink it without fear. You're like, yeah, let's just do it. This is something okay. But you know that back then that was something bad. So how did it change? How did this thing become okay? That's when you realize the devil, his plan worked. Okay. And then he makes the discipline look hard. Reading books. Why are you trying to gain knowledge? What are you doing? Why are you trying to know history? Why are you trying to know history of this place? Why are you trying to know that? Why are you trying to know this? What do you gain from this? This is just information. Why do you need access to this? What are you going to do with it? You're just reading. It's just no point. It's something that happened in the past. Just stuff like that. It's something that's not going to help you in the future. Even if it's going to help you, it's like, it's not time yet. There's still time. Go play a game. Go for a drink. I don't know. And then never come back. He just comes in he just gives you these small openings that you think it's a good chance to do, but it's not. Because you don't have discipline. He's telling you what to do. He's whispering it to you in a way. And then he makes it a habit. We already said that. He makes modesty look outdated. If you're modest or whatever. Self-control. Impossible. You can't control yourself. I don't want to do this. You do it. Because you can't control yourself. You can't be patient. Why are you being patient? Why? Why do you wait for this person to do all of this stuff? Just go out. Just find another guy. Find another person. Find another woman. It's useless to be patient. And then he makes the wrong things look exciting. This is very exciting. We gotta do it, even if it's bad. This is very exciting, bro. Like, what do you mean? We gotta do it. Fast money, fast pleasure, fast attention, fast leisure. But everything fast has a price, And sometimes the price is what? Your mind, your habits, your sanity, your mental health. What is it? Your life, your time, your job, your family, your friends. What is he going to take from you? He's taking your peace. He's taking your mind. He's taking your heart. He's taking your ears. He's taking your soul. He's taking your future. He's taking your relationship with people. He's taking your relationship with your future self. Because the devil, he doesn't offer anything for free. This is why when they always talk about the devil, there's always a sacrifice that you have to make. There's a pact. Because every temptation has a cost. Every what is it called? It might feel good in 5 minutes, but what does it do after? What does it do after these 5 minutes? What do you feel? What did you lose? Did you lose your time? Did you lose your peace? Did you lose your purity? Did you lose your dignity? Your relationship with God? Your marriage? Your time? Your future? Your parents? Your brothers? Your sisters? Your discipline? Your workout? Your future marriage? Your self-respect? Your innocence? Your focus? So what did you lose? And can you look at yourself at the mirror right now and be like, do I feel good? Look at yourself after you do all these kind of things. What will this cost me? They never ask this question. People be like, how will this feel? Should I do it? I think I'm gonna feel good. Okay. But what's the cost? What happens after? What's the result? you know? And that's exactly how he plays this game. That's how his game works. You know, he doesn't need to update it because it's already, it updates itself. He doesn't have to make different versions of it because he makes you focus on these pleasures before the action. Now, before you do that thing, you already know this is gonna feel good, but he doesn't tell you what's gonna happen after. You know, like he hides the regret that comes after it. He's hiding it, and before you do it, it looks so beautiful. It looks like the best thing ever. After you do it, it feels heavy. You feel ashamed. Why did I do this? I never wanted this. But at first, you say I need this, and then and then after that you say why did I do that? So I need, and then it becomes a why. Why did I do that? And the cycle is not random. It doesn't just happening, and this is a trap. This is a trap. You do the action, you regret, and then promise to change, and the temptation comes again, and you do it again, and then you regret, and then obviously action, regret, action, regret, action, regret. And if you don't break this pattern, right, it becomes your life. So how do you fight this? How do I stop this? You start by noticing the first whispers. How did it start? How did it get in your head? How did these voices come, into your head? Because by the time you're already deep into the action, it's harder to stop this process. But the battle already started earlier, but you didn't realize they're in the battlefield yet. It starts when this thought comes, It's when the message appears in your head, or whenever you get this message of temptation, when the anger rises, when the desire to wake up, there's like this desire, you need this, you want to do this. When your ego feels attacked, it's a lot of things. And like when you start forming excuses in your head, this is the moment, that's where you win and lose. That's where he decides the factor. He decides the end game. He decides not your destiny, but the way he's gonna shape your future. The way you're gonna shape your future. Because you have free will, right? So does he. Anyway, you don't beat the devil by pretending you have no weakness. Because he knows us. He knows everything. You beat him by knowing what's your limit. You guarding the door. It depends on that. How are you guarding the door? If your weakness is money, stop playing near the. How do I say this? If your weakness is lust, stop playing near the bridge. Stop playing. Stop getting to these things that makes you think. If your weakness is money, you're gonna start worshipping the status that comes behind the money. If your weakness is anger, learn how to control your anger. Learn how to control that burn that's burning inside of you. If attention or approval is what you seek and you're desperate for it, you gotta stop seeking it. You gotta stop seeking this attention. You gotta stop selling your soul for approval, if that's what they say. Because the laziness, because if your weakness is laziness, right, it could be that. Because a lot of people, a lot of us, sometimes that happens. You gotta stop stop selling the feeling of motivation. Stop waiting for it. Stop waiting to feel motivated. They always say this, motivation is just like a video or something. No, you gotta have this discipline. This is what I said. You need discipline. Motivation, fuck motivation. Because the devil, uses whatever you refuse to control. You can't control this. He's like, because not every thought should be acted upon. Not every thought needs to hear or deserve your attention. Needs to be heard or deserve your attention. Not every desire needs to be an action. Not every opportunity, I can't even speak. Not every opportunity is a blessing, Not every pleasure is something that makes you free. You know, not every feeling is truth. Not every feeling that you have or something that you felt means it's truth. You know, because sometimes what you want is exactly what destroys you, right? And sometimes when you feel difficult, when it feels difficult, exactly that's where you think this is gonna save you. The devil's game is old, you know. It has been played on a lot of people before us, around us, and it will continue. But once you see the pattern, and you become harder to fool, you gotta ask these 2 to 4 questions. Why do I keep this thought when I'm trying to change? Why do I suddenly feel lazy when I'm about to do something good? Why do I feel brave when I sin or when I refuse? But like, how do I feel when you do something good? You're embarrassed, but when you do sin, it's okay. Because the devil work is best in the dark. When you do something, you know, when you're distracted, when you're emotional, when you're alone, you know, when you're desperate. He doesn't. So you just don't fight the sin. You gotta fight the setup. You gotta fight the environment. You gotta fight the habits. You gotta fight the people who pull you back. You gotta fight the apps that keep feeding you this bullshit. The weakness. You gotta fight the thoughts that keep you entertained. Before the fall, usually because the fall usually starts before the fall. I don't know if you understand that, but it starts with what allows you, or it starts what you allow, like what you allow near you, pretty much. So you gotta protect your eyes, you gotta protect your ears, you gotta protect your mouth, you gotta protect your circle, you gotta protect the heart, you gotta protect your consciousness, your consciousness, you gotta protect your ideas. Um, so you gotta protect your time, because the devil, he doesn't have to own you completely to, you know, distract you. He just needs to do a little bit of this and that for you to destroy yourself. He just lays the, you know, he lays the construction and you're doing the work, because you need to wake up, not tomorrow, not later, today, now, at this time, because the longer you wait, the louder the wrong voices come to you and the quieter the good voices comes to you, you know. Because the devil's game is not just about doing bad things. It's about making you forget what you were meant to be, or making you forget that good things comes with a price, but it's gonna make you a better person. The bad things, you hide them, you do them, but they're gonna make you a bad person. Because remember, every time that whisper comes, you're not forced to do this. You still have a choice, just like he gave you a choice, right? You have this choice to not. The moment you choose to fight back, the game changes. You're gonna counter him, and I believe you can.